Listen, Blake Lively, if you have anything that you have against Justin Baldoni, now is the time to release it. I remember them saying in an article against Justin Baldoni releasing the 10-minute slow dancing montage filming of that scene that, this is Justin Baldoni's team trying to get ahead of damaging evidence against them. Well, if you have damaging evidence, this is the time to drop it. Okay, Blake Lively and your team, this is the time to drop it. My name is MJ. We will be talking about Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. There's a lot that's been dropping slowly in the last 1 week, so we're going to go over it. I'll try and do timestamps of everything, and so you guys can go and hear what you want to hear based off of what you're interested in. And I'm going to try and go in chronological order. So we're filming this on January 27th on Monday evening. Justin Baldoni just dropped a voice note. Basically, a voice note that he filmed. And based on our timeline, I did drop a video of like complete linear timeline. Based on our timeline, basically he dropped this before they did production. So if I were to I don't have my notebook with me, but I'm pretty sure that's like March 2023. March 2023. I'm pretty sure like April 2023. So he did a voice note. He sent it to Blake Lively 2:00 in the morning, and basically apologizing to Blake Lively about him not taking full consideration of her attempt of editing the rooftop scene, okay, and not understanding her side. So he basically dropped an apology, kind of, and him like rambling for 2 minutes in the middle of the night. Now, anybody who's listening to that is probably like, that's really weird. Yes and no. Like, it is weird for somebody like your employer to drop something at 2:00 at night. However, maybe that's when he was available to leave the voice note. I personally do not read into the times of when somebody drops a voice note or an email or anything like that, because I know that that's when they're available to do it, or they could forget. I know you can also schedule these things, but you can't really schedule a voice note. Now, Justin Baldoni is also an actor and director, so he's probably working around the clock around this time. And he's the owner of the production company that's also producing this film. So, it made a lot of sense in the world for him to drop 2:00 in the morning, because he's probably, still working. And he probably thought about it and took some time to debrief about it and to, analyze, the text messages that Blake dropped. So I'm not going to play it all, but I'm going to give you a little snippet of the voice note, because it's him just like saying, "Thank you, Blake. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I should have just, listened to you."
It just me off. Those heads that I'm just still kind of blown away that this is the industry that we're in, and that you've experienced that as a woman. And I know I don't need to say it, but that's not at all going to be, or will be, and hopefully it's not been the experience with me. There's nothing more exciting to me like that I get to work with Blake Lively and have her, all of her. I mean, that's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally fine with that.
Sorry, that was kind of weird. He was like, "Oh." That was kind of weird. That was actually, let me rewind that. I'm sorry. Did he just say all of her?
I mean, that's what I want. And so there's been no hesitancy like that I get to work with Blake Lively and have her, all of her. I mean, that's what I want. And so there's been...
In the context of how and when and why we are listening to this is in regards to sexual harassment. So like him saying, "I get Blake Lively, all of her, that's what I want," that's, like, a bit cringe, creepy.
No hesitancy with me sending you the final draft file. I am totally fine with that. The only reason I didn't send it today was because I was trying to implement and add your notes into my working draft, which is already, like, I'm all over that draft right now. So there's a whole bunch of new stars that are going to be collated pages. And I just haven't had a chance to send it to you. But there's no hesitancy. I'm happy to send it to you. And I'm sorry that...
I think this 2-minute voice note is a bit much. Like, if I was Blake Lively, I would have been like, "Boy, you could just send this over text message. You don't need..." But then again, Blake Lively sent this like book over text, and Justin's like, maybe I should listen to her and like really think about what she has to say here, and that's why he sends this voice note.
And I hope after this experience there will be a new, I don't know, I hope it'll be healing in some way, because that's all I want. I want this movie to be healing. I want this movie to be commercial, just like you, and affect people and touch people, and I want to walk you through.
So here's also like another thing that I brought up too, right? Remember what I said in the previous videos, and definitely check it out if you want, is that Blake Lively wanted to make It Ends With Us very commercial. He really wanted, she really wanted the movie to be very, very relatable, but also general, so that everybody can be able to come in and watch the movie. Now, with that being said, Justin Baldoni also wanted that, so it can be able to reach more people and touch more people. So that's his perspective. Blake Lively's is more like, I want this to be successful. I want this to be marketable, very marketable, so I can market my own businesses. And Justin's like, yes, I also want it to be commercial, but for different reasons, so we can touch more people, because there's a hidden message in this movie. And he also wanted it to be healing for Blake Lively as well. Like, it seems like Blake Lively really wanted to use this project as a path forward, in a different direction for her career, so she can be able to take more control in the Hollywood projects that she takes on moving forward, rather than just being, tall, blonde, beautiful actress. She wants to be the director. She wants to be the executive. So she wanted to have more control.
My whole plan,
and Justin agreed with that. Justin's like, yes, of course.
The domestic violence partner that we found, no more, and just my vision, and I just know that this can be really, really special, and it's gonna be special, and you're the secret sauce, and we're the secret sauce. And anyways, I have so much more to say. I'm gonna stop rambling, because Jesus Christ.
Please stop, my God.
30 seconds, so me. I'm sorry. You probably have kids all over you and a baby on your boob, and you're listening to me ramble at 2 a.m. I hope you're feeling better, and give Ryan my love. Thank you for sending me that. It means the world to me that you trust me with your.
I see what people are talking about. Like, I do get it. Like, I do get that Justin is the type of person who feels like the things that he says, it doesn't come off cringe or creepy, or like, it does come off as like, I am a feminist ally type of guy. Like the whole baby on a boob, like, that's a bit much. Again, this is a voice note. In hindsight, I'm pretty sure Justin Baldoni is looking at this and going, you know what? I shouldn't have sent that voice note. How embarrassing. So that's basically the voice note. I'm not going to go into it. That's really it. I mean, it's just him apologizing. That's much to say about that. We're going to move on to the next thing. And I don't know why they really released this. I mean, it just shows that Justin Baldoni also wanted the movie to be successful, really wanted to please Blake Lively. Maybe that's why Justin Baldoni's lawyers wanted to release this, to show that he really wanted to please Blake Lively. He really wanted it to be perfect for Blake Lively. He wanted Blake Lively to get whatever she wanted from this movie. She wanted to be healing, etc., etc. So that's, I guess, but again, this is before filming, and a lot of what Blake Lively is alleging is during filming. So I get it. Thanks for letting me know your intentions and your mindset before filming, but we're talking about during filming, which is the allegations that Blake Lively is actually talking about. Okay, so I'm just like, I'm just writing down the timestamp for myself. Okay, so now we're talking about the actual gag order. So what people don't know, that Blake Lively has been trying to get Blake Lively's team is trying to get a gag order against Justin Baldoni 3 times. They did a third time. They're doing it for the third time today. Again, today is January 27th. And what I do know is that the judge basically has been shutting down the gag orders, basically stating, Blake Lively, you can't say that you want a gag order for something that you started. Right, so I have a snippet of the basically judgment, I believe, and it's a 2-page judgment. This is for 2023, January 2023. 20 January 23rd, basically. January 23rd, 2025. So this is in regards to the judgment in regards to the second gag order request, I guess, that was made by Blake Lively's team. And the third request, which I'll talk about in a minute, talks about, basically citing a lot of Megyn Kelly's interview that Brian Friedman had with Megyn Kelly. So I'm going to read what the judge says. I think Kevin Fritz is the judge. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. In Canada, I don't think you can actually know who your judges are or the judge are. There's usually one judge for Superior Court. I don't think you can know. There is a green sash judge and a red sash judge. The red sash judge is like more federal and green is more provincial. Now, I don't really think you can know who your judges are until you actually enter court. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Unless it's really high profile, then for the red sash federal judges, like criminal trials, I think you can be able to know who your judges are. And you can be able to send things to your judge in advance, especially if your judges have made it known to you who they are, if that makes sense. So to me, I mean, this is before even a trial date, right? Like, especially in Canada anyways, trial is quite backlogged. So you would never know when your trial date is until your matter is actually processed. And until then, you'll actually get a lot of things happen. There are a lot of other steps that needs to go into play. So for instance, pre-trial conference will happen in the next few weeks, which basically means that both parties will come together on the table and then talk about, basically talk about settlement, but also talk about what to expect for the trial, what each side should expect for the trial, how many witnesses, how much documents, how much time is allotted, and also talk about, how to settle as well. There's also going to be a lot of motions a lot of motions being set between each parties, the requesting of documents, disclosure, and things like that. If you're wondering right now, like, if any of these parties, including Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, are going to be settling, I don't think so. According to the lawyers that I'm listening to on TikTok, it's weird to say. And FYI, I'm not a lawyer, but based off of the lawyers I'm hearing on TikTok, no, a lot of them are real lawyers in real life. So the civil attorneys, basically, it wouldn't make sense for either party to really settle now because it would just show that they forfeited and they basically lied through their claim. So they're basically going to wait until discovery has been made, submissions have been made on both sides, and then gather the evidence on both sides, which I'm going to talk about. That's going to be like the second or third point, which I'm talking about in a minute. But gather the evidence on both sides and look at the evidence, analyze the evidence, and see if they have a winnable case. See if their case has merit. If their case has merit, then they'll probably steam right through and then continue with a trial. But I know in Canada, trials take like 2 or 3 years to get trial dates. Now, maybe in America, trial dates take much faster, especially if you have high paid lawyers and your clients are celebrities and it's very high profile. People want it to end the publicity of it. So maybe they've scheduled the trial date and probably put that one, in the forefront over probably more serious cases. Like, God forbid we deal with like more serious cases in the court system, but Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's case must be heard first, but things like that. And that's what I've seen according to a lot of high profile celebrity legal cases in America, while in Canada it's kind of like the opposite. You just have to wait. It's going to take years. Now, so I don't think this is going to be settled. I think both sides are going to gather the evidence, and then they're going to see if it would make sense for them to settle. Now, we're on the second topic I'm going to read to you basically what the judge put to all parties and their decision on the second gag order. Now, like I said, Blake Lively's team has now requested a third gag order today, January 27th, 2025. So, this is what Jed says. Contrary to the inflammatory allegations in the Lively Parties letter, counsel for the Wayfair parties have not violated Rule 3.6 of the New York rules of professional conduct. Rule 3.6 sub A prohibits a lawyer who is participating in a civil matter from making extrajudicial statements that, quote, will have a substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing an adjudicative proceeding in the matter, end of quote. Putting aside that so much materially prejudicial statements have been made, Rule 3.6 sub D creates an exception that allows the lawyer to make statements required to protect a client from the substantial prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. I'm going to read the next paragraph and then I'll summarize. The Lively parties provided New York Times with Miss Lively's otherwise confidential administrative complaint filed with the California Civil Rights Department and thousands of pages of original documents, including text messages and email. In its bombshell story, We Can Bury Anyone Inside a Hollywood Smear Machine, the Times regurgitated Miss Lively's allegations along with an array of cherry-picked, altered, misleading, spliced communications. The results have been utterly calamitous for Mr. Baldoni and other Wayfair parties who instantly became objects of public scorn and contempt. Already, the Wayfair parties have been exiled from polite society and suffered. So I think this is Justin Baldoni's lawyers. I'm going to Google Kevin Fritz's name in a minute, but let me continue reading. The results have been utterly calamitous for Mr. Baldoni and the Wayfair parties, who instantly became objects of public scorn and contempt. Already, the Wayfair parties have been exiled from polite society and suffered damages totaling hundreds of millions of dollars due to Miss Lively's scorched earth media campaign. The coordinated public drop of Miss Lively's administrative complaint and the Times, which the Lively parties do not deny orchestrating, began a very much ongoing attempt rehabilitate Miss Lively's image at the Wayfair parties' expense. Immediately after the Wayfair parties filed their complaint against the Lively parties, counsel for the Lively parties described the lawsuit as another chapter in the abuse playbook, and Mr. Baldoni as an abuser, and then cited some stuff. So, as recently as 2 days, the Lively parties counsel publicly described the contents of video footage relating to, oh my god, so I'm getting this from a TikTok. The TikToker is Maggie May, and I just screenshotted it. I'm quite busy. I haven't been able to get the actual lawsuit, but I'm gonna try and read through this. Okay. In the context of a media feeding frenzy initiated by Miss Lively, which has already caused and continues to cause untold harm to the personal and professional lives of the Wayfair parties, counsel for the Wayfair parties adamantly and in good faith believe that a public response is required in order to avoid prejudice to their clients. Rule 3.6 comment 7. Having publicly made ruinous allegations that the Wayfair parties can prove are false, the Lively parties now invoke attorney disciplinary rules as an intimidation tactic. The Lively parties desire to force the Wayfair parties to defend themselves privately against allegations made publicly is not a proper basis for a gag order. It is tactical gamesmanship, and it is outrageous. If, as the Lively parties' letter suggests, such a protective order is formally requested, it should be denied. We look forward to further discussing this matter at the initial pre-trial conference. Didn't I tell you? Scheduled for January 22nd. No, February 12, 2025. So they do have a pre-trial conference. I was like, where did I get that from there? Yeah, so Blake Lively's lawyers and Justin Baldoni's lawyers will have a pre-trial conference February 12, 2025. They're basically, like I said, they're going to come together, decide if they can settle, gather talk about evidence gathering, okay? And then number 3, talk about what the trial realistically looks like, how much time is allotted, how many witnesses, yada yada. And so there's that. So I think Kevin Fritz, I think I've heard him before. He is a lawyer for the Justin Baldoni side. So I'm just gonna like quickly do a Google search because we can do that. So Kevin Fritz, let's see. Criminal defense lawyer. Yes, he's a criminal defense lawyer. So I was right. So because he's a criminal defense lawyer, that's what they wrote. But it was denied. So it was denied. Now I could go to Maggie May's TikTok, but the judge pretty much said you can't stop something that you started. If Blake Lively just did not submit the actual complaint, did not submit the complaint in to the New York Times, and all of this would not have happened, right? If they quietly submitted the complaint, then, obviously it would make sense for the judge to be like, you know what, let's do the gag order. But then again, you can't really do a gag order on a proceeding that hasn't happened. You can't order, or you can request the judge order a gag order for something that hasn't, like, the matter hasn't begun. Like, we're just in the preliminary stages of serving documents. The pretrial conference hasn't even happened. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at. Now, I could go to Maggie May's and try to see if we can get what the judge actually said. But for the sake of time, for now, we have so much to get through. So that is basically that. Okay, we'll see what the third gag order that was dropped today, or the third request for a gag order dropped today by Blake Lively is going to state. Now, I did see somebody, a content creator, basically go over it, and the letter from Blake Lively's team basically states that, again, Brian Friedman went to Megyn Kelly and said, yeah. I do think Blake Lively will continue to do this, only because I do think Blake Lively's lawyers will continue to request a gag order, even though it is going to continue to get denied, because Blake Lively doesn't want any of this information to be released anywhere. So, she wants all conversations made against her to stop. And you can't, because you started this. You made it public. And there was a content creator who actually was able to get the digital footprint of the photos made on the New York Times. So the New York Times article has this graphic. If you Google the New York Times article, and it has Justin Baldoni in a puzzle piece, and then Blake Lively picture in a puzzle piece. And the New York Times has this thing where each graphic has a date, and on the top of the graphic is a link to the actual graphic, and then it states the date, and the date is few days before it was dropped on December 25th. I think it was December 21st or something. So Blake Lively can't even come out and say that, we didn't give it to the New York Times. You gave it to the New York Times. And in fact, some of the images that the New York Times had in that article went back to December 18th. So it was quite clear that Blake Lively was working with the New York Times, and they wanted to use this as kind of like a hit piece. In my opinion, that's basically what it looked like, a hit piece against, Justin Baldoni, because they drafted the complaint few months before they gave it to the New York Times. Okay, and it looks like the New York Times and Blake Lively was working, together, probably from November to December. So there's that on that. We have a lot to get through. So now we're going to go into the text messages. If you did not know, we have Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' text messages must be given to to Justin Baldoni. So Justin Baldoni's lawyers subpoenaed all of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's text messages, and anything concerning anything concerning Justin Baldoni in the text messages of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively must be given to Justin Baldoni's lawyers ASAP. So that came out, and let's go to the article about that. I think that was in a Daily Mail. And that came out yesterday, I believe. So Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds will be subpoenaed to turn over all texts and emails about Justin Baldoni and its Ends With Us. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds will be subpoenaed to turn over. Okay, I just read that. The high-flying Hollywood couple were both named as defendants in the blockbuster lawsuit filed by the actor last week, which could see them facing $400 million payout if he prevails. Both Lively and Reynolds, along with their PR Supremo Leslie Sloan, are also being hit with a deposition request, which will see the pair ordered to provide hours of testimony and be quizzed by Baldoni's lawyers. A source familiar with the proceedings told DailyMail.com, unequivocally, yes, all parties should be aware that they will be subpoenaed and deposed imminently. The impending subpoenas are a further sign that the gloves are coming off in the epic legal battle between glamorous blonde Lively and saturine director Baldoni. Lively and Baldoni's feud first emerged in room. Okay, so we were reading about it. So that is what is happening. So it's becoming very, very messy. This is quite normal, right? We're going to subpoena everything. We want to see everything. We want to read, analyze, read between the lines, come up with the story of our case, coming with the story of a case that aligns with our positions of the case, right? Anything damaging, we would need to know. Anything that will help us, we would need to know. So that on that. If you didn't know, there are text messages and emails from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are being subpoenaed. Okay, so there's that. Now we're gonna go into Candace Owens. Now, what came out first? I think it was like Cupcake Mag, right? Let's talk about the Cupcake Mag stuff. Because I think Candace Owens' source came out, then the Cupcake blogger source, right, guys? I could be wrong. No, if you guys don't follow it as much as I do, you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's fine. So, now we're going to go into the Cupcake battle. And Cupcake blogger over the weekend, I think late last week, got some information from a source, okay, from a source who allegedly is the assistant to a supporting actress on It Ends With Us. Now, we can Google it. Supporting actress or supporting actors. Supporting actors, It Ends With Us. Let's see. So we have Alex Neustadter, Hassan Minhaj, oh my God. Did you guys know Justin Baldoni's wife played Dr. Julie? Justin Baldoni's wife was in the movie and played one of the doctors who performed Lily's ultrasound. What the freak? How did I just knew about this? This lawsuit is so crazy. This is such a crazy. Okay. Alex Neustadter, who plays young Atlas. Hassan Minhaj plays Marshall, Ryle's longtime best friend, who has been quite silent. And then Emily Baldoni, we know Justin Baldoni's confidant, his wife. So, those are the supporting actors. Oh, these are some of the supporting actors. I need all of the supporting actors. Hey Siri, who are all of the supporting actors in the movie It Ends With Us? Oh, no, that's not what I want. Never mind. Okay, so those are the three, but I'm pretty sure Lily Bloom. I'm pretty sure Lily's best friend, who ends up being like Justin Baldoni's sister, Justin Baldoni's character's sister, is also a supporting actress. I could be wrong, but anyways, you can narrow down who that is. Anyways, we're gonna move on. So there's that. So when it came to the source from this Cupcake blogger, so the source from the Cupcake blogger is the personal assistant to one of the supporting actors. And it ends with us. Nuha, a content creator, so a TikToker, one of the few who broke the news. And she's getting backlash. Which, before I go into, because I got screenshots of everything, well, I'm going to read it to you guys. Do not turn on your favorite content creator who happens to take their time out of their day. Again, I'm not getting paid to do any of this. I'm just like, this drama is just like really interesting to me. It's like really fun. And I'm learning as a person who wants to get into, not get into Hollywood, but learn about Hollywood and things like that. Like, this is also another opportunity to do so. The wind outside is so bad. Are you hearing that wind? I was going to go for a walk, but now I'm scared. Anyways, so do not turn on your favorite content creators. Like, just because your favorite content creator doesn't have your same opinion as you, that's fine, right? Listen to what they're saying if you want to. If you not, you can leave, right? I am the type of person who truly believes in that, but as y'all know my position, I am on the fence. Like, I'm just trying to understand the lay of the land. I am not on anyone's side. I'm a fan of both Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. I am starting to see both sides a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to understand. Now, it's easy for us to see Justin Baldoni's side because they've released all of the evidence. Now, Blake Lively, just like I said in the beginning, I would really like to know the damaging evidence that Justin Baldoni is trying to get ahead of, right? Drop it, Blake Lively. Drop it. If you have it, drop it. And the fact that they haven't dropped it makes me want to believe that they don't have it. I'm just saying. So let's go into, I'm going to start reading. So this is what the alleged PA of the supporting actress is saying. My source is a verified person who worked directly with a supporting actor who was in the movie, and this source was on set. First things first, she completely doesn't buy or agree with Ryan Reynolds' take. On the first day when they showed up, she recalls the first day the actor was so uncomfortable because the relationship with Justin is already very interesting. So she's saying she completely doesn't buy or agree with Ryan Reynolds' takes. What takes is that? I don't get it. Okay, anyways. So this source says, a few tidbits she gave me, meaning the blogger. So the blogger is the girl who's writing all this. But so this is what the source told the blogger. She believes one of the main reasons Justin ever picked up It Ends With Us in the first place was because of the growing popularity of the book early on and pushed for the film to begin production as it exploded, selling millions of copies. Not unlike other production companies right now with other popular books. I disagree with you. Based on what I'm hearing online is that it became popular in 2021. And I agree because I learned about the book last year, 2023. Actually, 2023 is when I learned the book. And I gave a copy of the book to my sister and she's obsessed and she loves the movie. But Justin Baldoni actually bought the rights to this book in 2019, like before it blew up. Initially, the supporting actor seemed to like Justin, but on set, it was a different story. At first, the supporting actor felt wooed. He has that very charming personality. She liked him up front, and as he started to work on the project, things changed. So the supporting actress is a woman. Now, this could be young Lily, but based off of the text message that young Lily or email that young Lily sent Justin Baldoni thanking him for his amazing work as a director. I don't think it's young Lily. I think this is coming from Lily Bloom's best friend. In other words, Justin Baldoni's sister. So the girl who played Justin Baldoni's sister and the girl who played Lily Bloom's best friend, it's coming from her. That's where I think it's coming from. I don't know. There's no other supporting actresses. I could be wrong. So that's my take on it. So we continue. I realized quickly she was going to be one of those experiences. To me, he presents himself as a very charming person, but I believe he's extremely fake. This is what the source is saying. His words up front didn't match his behavior when it came time to meeting expectations or following through on simple requests. I felt that. So this is I mean the assistant. The assistant is saying this. I felt that he has this very yucky energy to him. That's like the best way I can describe it. I'm very sensitive to people's energy. I've been around celebrities. I've been in rooms with powerful, influential people. So being in a room with Justin to me wasn't a new experience. The only reason I was there was to support the supporting actor I worked for. I didn't have any stock in taking a side or even believing any of the things being said. Anybody who says I feel people's vibes and energy without even getting to know somebody, I find them sus. I'm sorry. There are some people who are actually really good at that, at feeling people's vibe and then determining who their character and personality are. But most people are not. So I'm like, there had been instances in which multiple people suggested making changes to the script. Those were left unchanged and ignored. It just seemed as though Justin had his vision and his take on things, and it was either that or nothing. As everyone has come to realize, issues between the main cast mates started early on. We heard murmurs and saw things, but it was unclear what the path forward was going to be. Mix that with the writer's strike and delays, and the process became a complete nightmare. Throughout the process, though, Blake was warm and welcoming. She always seemed to care very deeply about the story, Lively's character, and how the emotion of the story should shine through the film. I felt that... Okay, I already did that. Okay, so the source continues. The drama surrounding Blake not reading the book, ? Please, many, so this is what the source is saying. Please, many actors do not read the book before taking on a role. They read the script, including other actors on this set alone. Blake seemed much more concerned with the story and its impact on DV survivors, as did all the other supporting actors. Many of them have shared that with the press. So let me just say this. It's true. Some actors do not like reading the book of a book that the movie script was based off of, only because that book could taint how they want to portray the character on screen through their version of how they want to do it, or through the director's version of how they want to do it. I get that. However, you can't say I haven't read the book and in the same breath say this is how, and be so confident in how you want to portray the character. That is in contrary to the director who has read the book, who has written this, who has developed the script. Like, you can't be so confident to be like, you know what, this is how I think the character should be, as a person who's never read the book, just read the script, and who's changing the script as they get along. Like, it's like the confidence for me is like, I don't get it. And to me, it makes perfect sense to me. Again, all this is all alleged, that this does not go in accordance with how a person may or may not have had DV experiences in the past, right? To me, a person who may understand or have experienced that would understand how to play Lily. To go to Justin Baldoni, who has read the script, developed the script over a year and a half, read the book, took notes, analyzed the book, drafted it with Colleen Hoover, it made no sense to me as a person who has that much confidence to be like, you know what, disregard everything you think, everything you say, this is how I'm going to portray the character. Based off of what? Right? Based off of what? And to me, based off of what I'm hearing and seeing, it doesn't seem like I said, Blake Lively had a good idea of what the character was, who the character is, and how her mindset should be. And I don't think she really understands the struggles that she needs to portray here. You know what I mean? So like, it's the confidence for me. Like it's like me saying, it's like me coming onto a project who has like no experience, nothing. Like no experience, nothing. Like I have no experience in drafting a PowerPoint, no experience in doing a presentation. Going to a person who's had like 5 years of doing that and be like, you know what, you should follow my opinion. Like my opinion is the best. We should do it my way. Like it's the confidence for me. So yes, not all actors read the book that a movie script is based off of, but they keep people's perceived notions and idea of the character in mind when they are carrying out the roles in the vision of the director, in the vision of the script, right? But actors still keep it in mind, right? And sometimes when you do watch a movie, you can tell like that the actor gets it, because you see glimpse of that character or the book adaptation of that character through the way the actors are playing that role, right? So she continues, while filming, there were plenty of uncomfortable moments. It seemed like everyone was struggling with the fact that Justin was directing and acting, and him having to switch back and forth between the roles seemed stressful for everyone. I completely agree. I don't think Justin should ever be in this type of position again. That was very stressful and I'm sure very confusing and quite hard, difficult to deal with. It was uncomfortable feeling like he was authority figure in a sense in one moment and the next being face to face with him in a scene. The dynamic seemed off and it looked like it was difficult to create a flow and sense of comfortability. I agree. The source continues, I've seen some comments and confusion about why many members of the cast and the author of the book are supporting Blake. It's simple. Blake's experience is legitimate from where I stand. Based off of what, we don't know. I mean, based off of the source like saw things play out, but okay. And I don't think she's the only person who felt uncomfortable, frustrated by the lack of professionalism and Justin's behavior. It's very telling that multiple members of the cast have spoken out. Blake isn't this bad guy everyone is attempting to paint her out to be. She's not rude. She's not a mean girl. She's kind, very I don't know what that word is, had with her. She was sweet and genuine. It was clear she was uncomfortable on set, but she was professional. Even while being in a situation it was clear she didn't want to be in. Who's forcing you to be in a role that you chose? Get out of your damn contract. I'm sorry. There were many occasions in which I believed she would walk away from the movie altogether. There were many moments I didn't believe this movie would ever even see the light of day. The idea that Ryan showed up on set one day and took over is fabricated. Okay, so this is after Candace Owens. Okay, that's fine. This movie got shot in choppy parts. There were delays and issues and the strike, so things started and stopped often. From the days I was on set, Ryan was never there once. No one. So from the days that I was on set, girl, so that means that you weren't on set on every single day, but from the days that you were on set, Ryan wasn't there, cool. But how about the days where you were not on set? Okay? Because if you're a supporting actress, that means that, because supporting actors were only there for a few scenes. So there were a lot of scenes that you weren't there, a lot of days you weren't there then. And technically they were filming for like 2 or 3 months in total. No one mentioned he was in Blake's trailer either. Justin was very much in something. It was cut off there. Along with the other directors, we saw some of the dailies and most of the major scenes were done. For the scenes we were there for, it was standard cast, crew, and extras. That's all. I just can't believe Justin would have brought Blake into this project and made such a mess of everything. What? I'm sorry, who filed the lawsuit against Justin? And who made the lawsuit public? And who gave the lawsuit to the New York Times? Girl, stop. Stop. How did Justin making a mess of all of this? I would like to know. For what? Question mark. He could have fired her at any point. That I agree with. However, it's a very, again, Justin Baldoni is a very sticky predicament, right? He is working with an actress who is also managed by his own management company, right? Working with an actress who's married to Ryan Reynolds, which apparently they're a powerhouse in Hollywood. I didn't know that until this lawsuit. He is working with someone who is quite beloved-ish, I guess. Working with someone who has a lot of power. Now, on Blake's side, it's fair to also say, like, it's weird being in a scene with somebody who's also your director and actor. But it seems like Blake and Justin was quite collaborative throughout the process, even against Justin Baldoni's wishes. So to me, it's like, I don't think Justin had a choice. Like, Justin couldn't fire them. Because if they fired Blake Lively, Justin will look bad. Everybody will hate Justin in the public eye. He might be in trouble with his own management agency, which is also the same agency as Blake Lively's. Apparently, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' agency owns the agency, like, for them to have power to tell an entire management agency, hey, I need you to fire your other client. Like, that's insane. So I don't think Justin Baldoni can even do that. It's all very icky and so disappointing. I've seen Jamie Heath be through. I've seen Jamie Heath brought into this. Jamie is like the right hand guy. Jamie Heath was also quite intense and really pushy at times. When they wanted something, they weren't afraid to ask you 10 times for it, and they weren't shy about trying different angles to get things done. So that's their job. I'm sure there's a lot of directors who are pushy, a lot of production people who are pushy. Overall, it really did feel like this was an attempt at making lots of money, and it did not at all feel like they cared about the story or DV survivors. I disagree with you again. From beginning to end, what's been one of the few things that have been very consistent is that Justin Baldoni wanted to make this movie as a way to help people who are going through DV, to break generational curses. Like, that has been very clear, to the point where he fought Sony to make it sure that the proceeds, that 1% of the proceeds of this movie goes to a DV charity. Stop. Justin speaking out about DV survivors after the fact was very scripted, practice with this PR team. Even if it is, because according to the timeline, Justin did attend some of Blake Lively's marketing events in the very beginning, and then he was exiled, right? So he was very vocal, but in the same time, you can tell, like, he was doing both. So he was doing Blake Lively's, like, cute, flowery marketing, and then he was doing the DV part, speaking about DV, and then, you know, he was exiled, and so he only talked about the DV, and he also looked at the backlash that the flowery marketing that he was getting on the movie. A lot of people on social media didn't like that. So what do? You only talk about DV, right? Like, because especially when you are making a movie that is centered on DV, you talk about it. And the fact that Blake Lively didn't talk about it at all in the marketing campaign, that rubbed people the wrong way, rubbed me the wrong way, because you're telling, like, anybody who's watching that from the age of like 10 to whatever can be like, oh my god, it's a cute rom-com, it's a cute movie. It's not a cute movie. It's quite intense at times, and it's centered on the premise that a woman who is brought up in DV marries a guy who does DV to her, then tries to escape it, and changes her life. So it's great. He knew that message to spread and what needed to say to put himself on the right side of this when the drama started unfolding. So that didn't make any sense. So summarizing the source from Cupcake Mag, it was basically on Team Blake Lively. I didn't agree with 99% of what the source from the Cupcake blogger basically said, and I do think that she gave us nothing there. Now we're going to Candace Owens. Okay, now Candace Owens basically came out and just said, hey, hi Arden, I have a close source who worked on the set and came to me and told me that, summarizing, I'm going to summarize it for you guys. Ryan Reynolds came on set and looked at the dailies. Now, with that being said, we don't... No, I don't know. Should I pull up actually what the source actually said? Let me see if I can find it. If I can find it, then I'll read it to you guys. If I can't find it, then I am going to just eventually summarize. Oh, Ramadan is coming up. Happy Ramadan for anybody. That's so random. Okay, so I think I have it. So I'm just going to try to see if I can scroll through it here. Okay. So, Candace Owens received a tip from someone who allegedly worked on the set of It Ends With Us. So I'm going to scroll on. But apparently the true villain in this saga is Ryan Reynolds. The person is alleging that everything started with Ryan Reynolds decided to scroll onto the movie set one day and review the dailies. This is an industry term for the footage, for all the footage that they filmed for that day. I learned this 5 minutes ago. So I, meaning Candace, but this is what the source is telling Candace. The source, which is a male, or identified as a male, because she's using he. And if you want to know who Candace Owens is basically, how would I describe her? An entertainer? A Republican entertainer, I guess. She says, he then also decided to take a look at the script, and between the two, something allegedly set him off. So the source tells Candace, the source says, this person claims, meaning the source, that the production assistants then overheard Ryan and Blake having an argument in Blake's trailer. Candace then says, the source then says, Ryan Reynolds started being on the set on a regular basis as if he were her chaperone, and that is when he started inserting himself into the actual production, including writing lines. And it's an anonymous source. We don't know who the source is, but the person is anonymous, who's identified as a male. So the source then continues. The next part is what has been alleged via the lawsuits. Ryan began inserting themselves in an effort to change lines and change the scenes. But apparently it gets better, Candace Owens states. Oh my God, there's a lot of stuff here. It is clear Ryan was determined to humiliate and win against Justin Baldoni. He went so far as to include lines in his separate movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, which we all know, about having an intimacy coordinator on set and making fun of Justin Baldoni's feminism and his podcast. Now, and if you don't know, Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds' blockbuster film. But Ryan then allegedly presented an ultimatum to WME, who is the agency, the management agency, Ryan Reynolds' management agency, but it's also Blake Lively's management agency, and it's also Justin Baldoni's management agency. I'll tell you this is the biggest talent agency in Hollywood, whose client roster includes Taylor Swift. 2, JB, Justin Baldoni. Now it continues and it states, it is us or it's him. This is what Ryan told the agency. So it was a him, Blake Lively, and did we mention our bestie Taylor Swift sort of situation? And then we continue on, and the source continues And the source states, I think that's it. Oh, it continues. Wayfair Studios had effectively been instantly blackballed, persona non grata in Hollywood instantly, and truly they had done nothing wrong but cast a woman into one of their movies with an alleged very jealous husband. Oh my God. So I'm gonna conclude. I'm gonna give my thoughts at the end in regards to this source. My source says that Justin Baldoni is legitimately a good guy who truly wanted to do this project. Oh. Let me go back. So Candace Owen's source says that Justin Baldoni is a legitimately good guy who truly wanted to do this project, but he cares deeply about women's issues. Wayfair Studios was meant to be a feel-good family movie studio. I wouldn't say feel good. I would say deal with issues that usually Hollywood doesn't usually deal with. But definitely like a family movie type of vibe. Yes, I agree. I think Blake was fine with everything in the movie she signed on for, hence not requesting an intimacy coordinator. And then all that changed the day her husband showed up to set and allegedly blew a fuse. Interesting, okay. So it continues, and Candace Owen states from her source. We're almost done here. So he tried to peacock Justin Baldoni by injecting himself into every layer of the movie and reminding Justin who the A-lister is. That is why Ryan was there every step of the way, and I sense it was what was demanded. I couldn't read it was him that demanded Justin to be in the basement of the premiere. Oh, my Lord. So that's basically what the source, Candace Owen's source, basically says. Now, what do I take from that? So there's several things I take from that. What are the new information we take from that? Ryan Reynolds started all this. Ryan Reynolds saw the dailies. Another new information, Ryan Reynolds put Justin Baldoni in the basement. My thing with this is, if Justin Baldoni knew that Ryan Reynolds came on set and saw the dailies, why wasn't that inside Justin Baldoni's 179-page lawsuit? If Justin Baldoni has no problem saying that Ryan Reynolds berated me in a meeting in front of my peers, I don't see why Justin Baldoni could have put that particular part in his lawsuit. With that being said, I'm taking this source also with a grain of salt. I'm not reading much into the Cupcake blogger source, but I do think the source to Candace Owen has a bit more validity to it, and it's a bit more credible, only because I do believe that Ryan Reynolds saw the dailies at some point. We don't know when, but I don't know why Justin Baldoni wouldn't put that into the lawsuit. You know what I mean? I feel like that would have been something that would have put into the lawsuit, and that's where it makes me start to question who is this person saying, who is saying this, where is this information coming from, etc., etc. So with that being said, I do think a small element of this is definitely coming from like Ryan Reynolds being jealous, or him thinking that, you know, Justin Baldoni crossed a line here too with his wife and kissed her when he's not supposed to kiss her, or did this when he's not supposed to do this. I do think it's definitely coming from that. I would say like maybe like 20%, but or maybe even 40% actually. Of course, all of this is alleged. We're hearing from other entertainers, other content creators who are also filming this, and everybody wants to understand as to what is going on. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding. So this is what you get from this entire video, which is, number one, it's going to get more messy. Number two, we're definitely getting that website with all those text messages that Brian Friedman said he is about to drop. Number three, I think more things are going to start leaking. We don't know when. I think Blake Lively and her husband are going to start doing press for some of their other movies that are coming out. So that'll be interesting. all of this doesn't really like push me to think a certain way or be swayed. It's just another piece of the puzzle. Another piece of the puzzle. So with that being said, I'm still understanding. I do think it's pretty weird that Ryan Reynolds is also part of this movie. Now, Blake Lively said, like, when you hire me, you hire my husband, which is really freaking weird. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry, I hire you, girl. Why is your husband watching my dailies? But why is that not in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit? See what I mean? I don't get it. So let me know what your thoughts. There's a lot to get through. I think doing a video that kind of like summarizes everything is like really, really good too. It's like really, really good. And I might drop this video tonight. If so, hey girl, hey boy, hey guys, hey. And let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I'm still on the fence. Like, nothing is swayed. A lot of people are like, you know, everything is really so bad for Blake Lively. Yes, but Blake Lively should not have dropped her lawsuit to the New York Times. Like, I'm sorry. And I think Blake Lively really did underestimate Justin Baldoni, because it seems like Justin Baldoni has the money to go after Blake Lively with everything that he got. I mean, he has to, because he has to save his reputation. He wants to be able to work again. Like, you know what I mean? But at the other side of that, you know, I do want to know the damaging material that Justin Baldoni's lawyers are trying to get ahead of. Like, what is Blake Lively talking about? Like, I would want to know. Like, drop it, guys. Let's go. We're ready. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, to comment, to share. You can pretty much do whatever you want here. This is a safe space for all involved to an extent. No harassing anybody, no racism, anything like that. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I've dropped you know, really cool videos. Like, lots of reality TV has been dropping on Netflix. Been watching that. Some other TV show reviews on other streaming platforms. Check out that. I do a lot of movie and TV show reviews, pop culture, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Whew, that was a long one. I can't wait to drink some water now. Stay woke, stay healthy, stay safe. Bye, guys. Oh my God.